one other team in the East that's getting a lot of media attention, especially from Stephen A, is the Knicks. They've had big expectations for themselves. They were playing with house money last year. They made a big surge in the playoffs. They're one of the most entertaining series last year was the Hawks versus the Knicks. And they've just kind of fizzled out this year. They're not in the playoffs. Will they make the playoffs is the question. What do you think?
Well, they've got the 15th hardest schedule, or you could say 15th easiest schedule. So I'd say that's kind of a wash. It's kind of fairly non-significant. But if you're the Knicks, you want to face any bad team you can right now because you're terrible. But they're 25-34 at this point. The All-Star break could not have come soon enough because they were fresh off of like 3 terribly blown games. People are calling for Tom Thibodeau to be fired because like they just like have no patience here now, especially for Thibodeau. Like, to be fair, he doesn't deserve patience at this point. It's his 3rd head coaching job, like this, and it's in New York. Like the leash is short. In terms of making the playoffs, they're currently 3.5 games behind the Hawks, who they had that great series against. They're 3.5 games behind them for the 10th spot, the play-in. So things are bleak right now, and I just don't see it happening unless like someone shows out that hasn't been, these new lineups that Tom is gonna pull out if they actually do something. But when has Tom like shown that he's willing to change?
No, I think a coaching change would be needed, but I think we're seeing this is the long run. This is the long results of interrupting their rebuild and trading away Kristaps Porzingis. Not saying he would have been the answer, but they lost a lot of years of development, and they're not enough right now. Their best player is Julius Randle, it was obvious last year he couldn't be a number one. Granted, it was nice for the success, but they couldn't get a number one scoring option in the offseason. Who's going to be the number one scoring option now? I mean, they made some on paper some nice moves, getting Kemba,
who they've now shut down for the season.
Yep. Derrick Rose is also coming back from injury. He helped them when he played. He's 6th man of the year candidate now at this point, and every time he gets on the floor. However, and that was really nice.
At this point, they're looking forward to D Rose coming back. That is what they're hoping it gets them into the playoffs.
Oh yeah, and he's definitely going to help them. Obviously he won't be enough because RJ Barrett has made a big jump. Granted, he's the only upward trajectory. I mean, everyone had high potential for Mitchell Robinson. I did. I thought he was great. He was an awesome shot blocker, but he's still, even this far into his tenure in the NBA, he's still struggling staying on the floor with foul trouble. It's just something he's never been able to work out. So Nerlens Noel got a resurgence, and he's just not good enough to be a starting center. So it's hard. It's hard, Where do you go from here if you're the Knicks?
Yeah, Yvonne Fournier, terrible this year. He signed a big contract to join them. They didn't have many options in free agency. Unfortunately, like everybody seems to act like, oh, everyone wants to go to New York. Every year they always say like there's a possibility someone's going to go to New York. They never get anybody. Like even right now, they're talking about, is Zion going to force his way there? They've already got Cam Reddish. They've got RJ Barrett. Zion, he's never been more excited than when they asked him about playing in Madison Square Garden before the draft. But look, no one has ever willingly gone to the Knicks unless they were past their prime or they got paid too much. Like the best player they've added most recently, it was Carmelo Anthony. And he was great for a few seasons, like 3 years. He signed a horrible extension. I have no idea why they offered it. They had signed Amari Stoudemire before that, who had one season where he was looking like an MVP. And after that, he hit a wall. But the point is, the Knicks fucking suck, and they're not making the playoffs because they're 14-22 in the East. They're 13-17 at home. They deserve all the boos. Julius Randle can give thumbs down all he wants, but he's the one that needs to put up or shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think the organization's asking him to be way more than the player he was ever supposed to be, nor can he ever get up there. They're asking him to do so much, and He's just not that guy. I think obviously they took a big hit with they just haven't drafted right as of late. I mean, Emmanuel quickly was a really nice pickup.
When have they ever drafted right?
But yeah, so Obi Toppin was the wrong choice. They could have got Cole Anthony. I mean, not saying Cole Anthony would be the difference maker, but certainly he would be better than no one right now, you know?
The Obi Toppin pick made no sense because they had already had like 6 power forwards on their roster.
Yeah.
And, there was plenty of talent available at the guard position in the draft where you didn't need to take Obi Toppin.
Yeah, and they obviously needed shooters. It was just a dumb pick. And I think, honestly, like Knicks fans don't want to hear, but I think a rebuild is the best thing for you. It's not rebuild because you're not rebuilding anything. It's not there.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have anything. All you have is RJ. Like, what else do you have of value? Like Julius Randle, you were hoping of value, but now he's getting paid big money and he's not trying. He clearly does not belong in New York. He's ready to move on. What do you have, New York? Tell us in the comments and subscribe. Strictly Ball Business.
Yeah, they're going to love that.
Fucking 3 blown leads in a row, and they think we're going to talk about them making the playoffs. You guys should. I would think any sensible. Is it sensible or sense? Yeah, sensible. New York Knicks fan, they should want this team to tank out the rest of the year, just try and get someone of value in the draft, because you're not doing shit if you get in the playoffs anyways. It's just going to be a sweep, and like you're going to fill up MSG just to watch yourselves get swept. That doesn't sound fun.
No, you don't want your ass kicked by the
fire
Bulls.
Tom.
Exactly.
Yeah, they get their ass kicked by the Bulls. Like, wrap it up, fire Tom, and move on.
Yeah, I mean, their best case scenario would look the worst. Like, if they made the 7th seed throughout the play-in, then they have to face the Cavs, and they get swept by the Cavs, and a team that's firstly in the playoffs since LeBron left. So I was like, I don't know if that's probably not a good idea for you guys. I think this is a really nice draft. I think they should not tank the rest of the year, but I think they should have traded an asset away. I think there's no need to hold on. Obviously, nobody's going to take Fournier's contract at this point, unless they held on to a bad contract. Not that I don't think Fournier is a bad player. I just think they're misusing him. They're just like, hey, catch and shoot guy. Yeah. I think he's a lot. I think he's misusing players.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, but I don't know. Well, hopefully they get in the draft. Maybe they'll get far in the lottery. It's happened before. I mean, I hope.
What were they thinking, trading a 1st-round pick for Cam Reddish? And now they have had no interest in playing him since day one.
That's Tom Thibodeau. I didn't think that was the worst thing in the world. Cam Reddish, I really do see him as a nice player. I think it'll free up some space. Hopefully they free up some roster space for him this offseason, because he deserves minutes. He had started off really hot this year, showed a lot of flashes last year. I think as a 10th pick, I think he has still potential that's out there, especially playing next to RJ Barrett. I think it's possible. It's possible for him to turn into something more. Obi Toppin, I haven't seen it yet. He won the dunk contest. I think maybe that's what they've been playing for the last 4 years.
That's the thing. We all knew Obi was a good dunker.
That's about it.
That was no surprise. Like, but he's got like hardly any skills. Like, yeah, he's an athletic big who can get up, but he didn't do anything at Ohio State other than, alley-oop and get a few rebounds.
Right. I think that's enough. So I think let's.
Yo, Strictly Ball Business. I'm Alec, and this is Dalton. We always talk about the NBA. Come join us, and let's have some fun.